Hello everybody, Christopher Reist here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how the crossbow could be changed to make it a more viable weapon. Most Vigor players nowadays would unanimously agree the crossbow is one of, if not the worst weapon in the game. It is very bad, and it is very little number of situations where it's actually viable against any other weapon. And because of that, I thought, I might as well think of ways that it could be buffed in the future and changed in order to be made more viable. I will note this was not the video I had planned today, so the script is a little bit lighter, which means if I seem a little bit more bumbling than normal, I apologize. I wish I could spend more time polishing up the script. I just didn't have the time today. But let's get right into this. So first things first, the crossbow has some major issues that would need to be buffed out if we ever want to see it usable at all in the future. First of these issues is reload. While I understand why it's reloaded as slow as it is, it really can't afford to be. Seeing as how the nature of the weapon is, it can't really work like that. I understand it's slow bullet velocity because it's not a bullet, but if it also has slow reload and has no chamber, this is just making it a gun that's never going to stand a chance in any situation. It needs at least maybe a 0.8 to 0.7 times slower reload, and I think if it got this, it would be a much more viable weapon. Next issue is bloom. The fact crossbow has any bloom at all is already an issue. Really, the pellet should be flying perfectly dead center every time, and not 33% or 45% of the time that the crossbow pellet ends up in the round dead center. You should be able to count on your shot going where you're aiming it. And right now, the crossbow just doesn't have that. The next issue is its first-person sights. Its first-person sights are dreadful, and while I understand why they look like this, they need to be better. I would honestly say slap an optic on it. Whether we're looking at a 2x scope or maybe no scope and just a ring, some type of easier scope to look through would make more people to think about using the crossbow in more situations, as really right now with its current scopes, it's unusable. So those are all basic changes, but there's other things wrong with the crossbow in that even in theory, the weapon is not very good. Even if we fix its bloom, recoil, and first person, it is still extremely low damage, very little amounts of stagger, and just fundamentally as a weapon, not very good. And I know that a lot of people would argue, well, let's increase the stagger of the crossbow, and while I do agree with that idea, at that point, you gotta be able to hit first. Really, the crossbows right now, its number one issue is even hitting things because of its slow bullet velocity. But what else could be done to the crossbow? So let's say, we do all the things I just mentioned, the general changes, maybe even increase its stagger a bit. What else could be done? Well, simply put, poison damage. I know a lot of people are against this type of idea, but poison damage or thermal paste or some type of damage over time would make it so that way if you shoot someone with a crossbow, it has a unique thing to it that other guns doesn't. Whether poison is more far-fetched, but thermal paste is not that far-fetched of an idea, just catching people on fire. Now, there is the obvious downside of this in that if they make it anything like realistic, things, it'd be pretty hard to put the fire out, or it'd be pretty hard to cure yourself of poison, which could make the crossbow overpowered even. However, if they don't change anything with its bloom, I doubt it would be overpowered, more so just annoying. If you don't like those two ideas, then I suggest maybe we get rid of the bolt ammunition and replace the crossbow with firing shotgun shells. If it fires shotgun shells, it could do shotgun shell damage, which would be much more than a bolt currently does. While it would lose a lot of its stagger because the shotgun bolt does not stagger very much, they could simply just tweak that on an individual level of the gun, and I think it would just make the gun a bit better. Not much, though. Next they could do is put in explosive tips. Now, this is another idea that when I proposed it in my initial draft of the script, a lot of people were like, no, Chris, that's a horrible idea. And here's why I say that. The issue with the crossbow right now is hitting things. If you don't have to hit things dead on, then the crossbow suddenly becomes a lot more viable. If it had a small blast radius, think contact bomb radius, and did the damage of the contact bomb and the stagger of the contact bomb, it would still be balanced and would increase your chances of hitting people tenfold. This would make the gun somewhat viable and maybe even on par with some green weapons. Now, of course, it's not touching the blue weapons of the G3, the PAMD, and the other guns in the blue category, but at least it's now something that some people might be willing to use. And the best thing about explosives is that they largely already have all the programming done with the contact bomb, and it wouldn't add any annoying mechanics like fire or poison damage. At the end of the day, I think it's truly going to be up to the devs on this one, and the community if we even want the crossbow changed, as it seems like much like some other guns in the game, it's been forgotten. Now, before I end this episode, I am going to note, I would like to hear what you guys in the comments think about the idea of, in the future, me doing a Forgotten Vigor's weapons list. Weapons that have largely been so far from the meta for so long that most people have forgotten they even exist. I've been thinking of doing this video, and the reason I've been holding off on it is because of other videos. But if you guys want to see it, write down in the comments and write what weapons you think would fall in this category. I also, of course, want to hear what you guys think should be changed on the crossbow. But this has been Christopher Beast, and I hope to see you all next time.